Good. All right. Well, obviously disappointed with the outcome. Tough game, tough place. Give Minnesota credit. That's a really good team. They played hard. They controlled the game. We just think you control the game. But, the first half gave up some big plays that kind of swung some things for us there and didn't make enough plays on offense to help us. And, so there's a lot of adjustments, a lot of corrections here at halftime that we needed to make. I do think the guys went out and played hard in the second half. I thought we tried to get some of those things fixed. We also knew it was going to be a tough game. We tried to decrease the penalties, but we still had some of those in some critical situations. But again, for us, it's it's hard. We want to win, trying to do all the things we can to win. But right now, I think the one thing for us is that we just keep pushing together, we keep sticking together, and keep trying to get better. And we all understand that. We know that's where we're at right now in the season. We got a limited amount of opportunities left, and we're just trying to go out and make the most of those opportunities every single chance we can. But give Minnesota credit; they played well. They got great players over there, and they all played us today.
They lost the 2.5 minutes of the first half. We got 3rd and 2. We got a chance to make a little bit of a stand. How important is that the way it went? That was just the opposite.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time right before the half, and certainly, it's not really at all what we want to go on with that, so not good enough in those situations. We talked about their players and, those guys that can make those plays, and we got to come up with some plays in those situations and play a little bit more aware from that standpoint. But certainly, I thought that was something that, wasn't very good before the half came in. We talked about it at halftime, how much we were all, disappointed by that, and we got to make sure that doesn't happen here in the second half. We'll go back and take a look at it. There were certainly some things out there that I just thought there was some miscues, some things out there with not everybody on the same page. Communication, it's a loud building, it's a hostile environment to play in, which is obviously good for them and good for them on defense. I think they did some different things to kind of give us a different look, a little bit aggressive with some of the stuff that they did, which obviously worked really well for them with our situation, and they just capitalized on it.
Matt, at this stage, 6-9-1, 6 straight losses. I'm not asking this to be antagonistic. I'm just asking you for your opinion. How do you convince people you can get this turned around with this regime and you guys now for 2 years, 9, 19, 1? How do you convince people you can get this turned around?
Again, for me right now, we know we're in the middle of a process. We know we're trying to get better. So, I think if you look at our team right now and where we're at, we're not winning. We understand that. That's pretty much the obvious. But for us, it's about trying to improve and get better. I think we have a tough team. I think we have a team that works hard. We understand we're going to have to build on top of that in order to kind of get us, over the hump on some of those things that we're not doing well enough. And we're in tight ball games, and we're right there, all the way through. And I think the hard thing for us, and what I appreciate about this team is we don't look at our record and say this is what we are. I think we look at our record and say that's not what we are, and we got to do better, and we try to figure out how to get the record to match up with what we are. And that's kind of where we're struggling right now. I think that's the best part.
You understand the scrutiny about your job because it's a bottom line business, the record.
Yeah. I'm in the NFL. I've been in the NFL a long time. I know what the NFL is about. So I do understand that, but I also understand what we're trying to do. I know there's been a lot of coaches that have taken over programs and really tried to start and build something and work from the bottom and try to grow on it and build it. And I know what those records look like too when those guys have all started out. So for me, I try not to look at that stuff. I just try to look at each week. So right now for us, it's about next week, and that's the biggest thing for us. Yeah. No, I think you never really know what you're getting into from that standpoint. So there's from that, I can't really tell you schedule standpoint, but it certainly is one of those things where we are grinding through it and we're trying to make it better every week, and that's really all we can do. Sorry, yeah, I'll come back, Dave. Certainly want to go back and look at all this stuff, but I think let's give Minnesota credit. I think they did some really good things there to kind of, put us in some difficult situations offensively. I would say just together, I think that group, I think there was some decisions out there. We got to just do a better job at executing, some of those situations. And, David he's an extremely competitive guy. He's a tough guy. I love his energy, what he brings every single day to practice, to the games. He's competitive. So, from that standpoint, he's trying to get it all right. And, for me, again, offensively, defensively, special teams wise, it's a team game. It's all 11 guys on the field at that time. All 11 guys got to be working together, with the coaches to make sure we have a chance to be successful. So it's not going to be one guy from that standpoint. It's got to be everybody. Go ahead, Dave.
How do you
Sure. I mean, I'm not really going to digest the entire season right now, but I would say for us, it's the stuff we've been talking about. It's the toughness of what I think this team is about. It's the work ethic of what this team is about, the competitiveness of what this team is about. We're extremely competitive group. We got to obviously perform on Sundays a little bit better than what we're doing, but I think those guys are trying to do everything they can to get better and work hard. So I think they're laying that foundation, understanding that you have to have a foundation before you can build anything on top of it, and that's where we're starting, and from there we'll try to build some pieces that'll help us kind of maybe get over the hump from that aspect of it. But we certainly got a lot of guys out there that are playing really hard. We got a lot of new guys out there every single week, it seems like, and those guys are just stepping up and diving right into their role and trying to do the best they can with it, and I think that's great to see. I think that's important in the NFL because it is a league where the lineups change every single week, and when a guy you can have depth like that where they can step in and play, certainly we're gaining some experience that we need with some of those younger players, so that as we push forward, those guys will be able to step into those roles and perform at a high level with experience on top of it.
Matt, of the losses, this is the first one you really feel like it was one or two plays.
Yeah.
You really felt like the Vikings controlled tempo start to finish this one. What's the message going forward to the team to keep it from the season spiraling out?
Yeah, I would say that I thought Minnesota did a really good job in the first half of kind of just getting up, and certainly I think there were some things out there that we did that didn't help us from that standpoint. So we've got to learn from those and make sure that doesn't happen again, and that we can be in that sort of continually competitive game that we're used to kind of every single week. So we kind of put ourselves behind a little bit of a difficult task playing on the road in an environment like this, which is obviously great for their for their team, but we don't want to do that. It makes it too hard from that aspect of it. Though again, like I said before, I think our guys came out and they tried to fight really hard to to go out in the second half and compete and try to get things right, which was good to see.
There's been a lot of injuries this season and last season. Do you think there's a problem that you guys might just be snake bit in that area, or is there something more with the training, strength and conditioning that is making players a little bit more susceptible to injury?
You know what? We kind of evaluate all that stuff when we specifically look at the types of injuries that we're getting to see what are those? Are those soft tissue injuries? Are they things that have to do with the joints? Is it have to do with playing surface versus different types of surfaces, things like that. So we'll evaluate all those and go forward. We're certainly doing things continually with the strength and conditioning and the training that we do to make sure that we're monitoring all that stuff and keeping track. So we do look at all that. I don't have anything solid for you right now, but we do analyze all that stuff, absolutely.
Coach, you mentioned one thing about this, that series at the end of the half with marriage situations. We're not taking such a big sack, you want to then turn around and not give up a long game with them. So you see there's a situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, they got a great player over there on their side of the ball, and he's going to go deep. And it was a situation where I gotta get us in a better situation there, so that we don't give that up.
Matt, did the league find you guys for the Stafford injury protocol or whatever? Do you have any response to that?
Yeah, no, we've talked all about that enough. Anybody else?
You'll have fine. You'll have fine.
Again, I'm not going to make any comment on that.
I just want to mention how tough this defense is, and just obviously David's first road start.
Yeah.
Environment. Just what does this defense do that made it such a challenge?
Sure. Minnesota's defense? Yeah, obviously, they came right out the gate, a couple different looks, and they brought some pressure, and you saw Smith on the line of scrimmage right away. You saw the linebackers walked up in the A-gaps like they do, and just kind of some of those. They have a lot of packages, a lot of different looks, and they have a lot of flexibility and variability in their defense, and just looked like they were trying to use they used a lot of it early, gave us kind of some of those different looks and some of those different problems that we had to solve out in the field, and they executed at a high level very well, especially at home. So I think those are some of the things early on that were troublesome. Okay, great, appreciate it.